Hey YouTube, so today we are going to be replacing a diesel injector pump for a 2006 Dodge Sprinter. There's the pump right there, as you can see, but in order to get to it, we're going to need to remove some things here in the front, like this grill, this brace, the radiator support. I could do a whole nother video on how to take all this other stuff off, but I'm going to take it off real quick for you. There's a couple tools you'll need. You'll need some star bits here. You'll need a 10mm for this bolt here. I like to use a power tool. This is E47. There are two nuts here, E47, E47. And you got an E-socket here. And, you know, over time, sometimes, you know, people will switch out fasteners, and this one has a Phillips head screwdriver. You'll also need a flat head screwdriver because you're going to remove the radiator and you're going to pull some stuff out of the way in order to get to a diesel injection pump. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this stuff out of the way, and then we'll get to the next step. The next step, and pull some other stuff out of the way. All right, keep watching. All right, this one is a T30. That. Of course, that's just a push tab there, so we'll pull that out with our push pin pliers. Next, you'll need to remove your headlights here, in order to get to that bolt there and to the one there. You can probably squeeze it in there, but don't take a chance. Just go ahead and pull the headlight out, undo that, pull it forward. That way you have the space. That headlight out of the way, you can get to this bolt here, and you can lift that crossman route, and then we'll have access to the fans and the radiator. Now with that out of the way, that was pretty tight. You can reach that, and you can reach that. That was tight too. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the condenser fan assembly off. It's pretty easy. You got the screws here. You're going to take this fan off in the front. We're going to leave the condenser attached because if you disconnect it, we're just going to swing it out the way. If you disconnect it or break the lines, then you're going to lose all your AC compressor fluid, so you don't want to do that. All right, so we'll get that loose, and then first we'll take this fan off, and you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so once you take away these screws up here you just lift your condenser up. There may be screws attached at the bottom. If not, you can just lift the condenser up and sit it off to the side, like so. We have a fan pulled down to the side. Now we'll take our intercooler off. These are 10mm bolts here. Then you'll have to get the clamp there. And then you can pull that piece out. And you also want to pull your transmission cooler line, pull that piece out as we work our way into the radiator. Once you get your intercooler out of the way, then you'll be down to your radiator. You have a lower radiator hose here, down there, that you'll need to disconnect this clamp. Your radiator fluid will come out, so find you something to catch that. You don't want that to come out on the ground. Also, you'll need to disconnect the radiator hoses here, and there's another one there. Disconnect this here, and that way you can take the whole piece off. All right, so once you unloosen this clamp here, your antifreeze will start flowing out. Make sure you have something up under there to catch it. You have a clean container, if you don't contaminate your antifreeze, you can actually use that. But in this case, we're going to get rid of the old and just put some new antifreeze in there. While you're doing that, find a wrench and you'll disconnect the two cooler lines, transmission cooler lines, one here and one there. Okay, so that's our new pump there, and as you see, you've got the 3 mounting bolts here. 1, 2, 3. You won't be messing with those. You have your 2 hose connections there, your hose connection here. Remember the 2 sensors there and there. pretty straightforward. So on this sensor, the locking tab is actually on the back side of it. That's why we're saying I need to use 2 hands to get that loose. So we'll get that loose, and then we'll take that pump out. And we'll put the new pump in, and I'll give you a few more tips on this thing before I put it back together. We'll undo these 2 hose clamps here, and these 2 will just slide off. We'll get the one on the bottom. Also, whenever you're putting this together, if your hose clamps feel weak, or if you break them, putting them a little too tight, just go ahead and put new hose clamps on here to prevent any future leaks. So we got these 2 loose here. We'll slide that off. I need 2 hands to get that off. As you see, there's the mounting bolt. You'll need an E-socket for that. And then there's 2 mounting bolts at the bottom too. Then we'll pull it forward. So let me get this off. Let me get this stuff off, and we'll come right back. You'll need an E10 socket to get these bolts loose. You got 1, you got 3 of them actually. The one at the bottom, I already took that out. So I think my wrench is dying down on me. So once you pull these 3 bolts out, 1 at the bottom, reach in there, 1 there, and you disconnect this line here, that line there, you'll be able to actually pull this forward. Now, to get this line up out of here, you do need to take this one loose there. I forgot about that one. You need to take that loose there, and that'll give you some wiggle room there. You'll be able to lift that line up. You don't want to bend it, because if you bend it, then it takes a little bit harder to get it back together. Once you pull the pump off, you'll be able to reach back there and reach that latch right there and disconnect that electrical connector there. But now we have those 3. You see how it just moves and it's ready to come forward? So let me get that loose and show you the rest of it. Alright, so if you just wiggle that and pull that thing off, pull it out like that. Okay, so once you get those 3 bolts out, you can wiggle this thing and pull it all the way out. And once you pull it out, you'll notice it has this little piece on it. Okay? What you need to do is take this piece off and transfer it to the new pump. Okay? The new pump doesn't come with that. Now, I kind of need to do this. Got to stop recording because I can't do it with 2 hands. But you see how these screws have come loose here? That's the reason for the failure of this pump. Just the vibration of the motor itself. And then once it comes apart, of course, it can't hold the high pressure. And also, now that you see how that locking tab is right there behind that. All right, now that it's off, you can reach down there and put some pressure there and get that off a lot easier. So we'll clean this up, put this back together, put the new pump in, and get it up and running. If you have any questions or comments, please post, chat, subscribe. I'm currently holding the radiator forward with my arm. You know what I mean? It just kind of, instead of having to take it all the way off, I didn't want to have to take it all the way off. If you're confused about which way this thing goes, I mean, it's only going there one way. It'll slide down on that tab. Don't worry about, whether or not you spin this thing around. It doesn't have to be indexed. But the main thing is make sure that it's indexed into that camshaft right there whenever you put it back together. Well, if you don't do it, it's not even going to slide in. All right. We're going to finish up and get this thing put back together. If you have any comments, please post, chat, subscribe, and thanks for sharing. This thing's kind of heavy too. Let me get it undone so I can show you what it looks like. If you have the pump away, it's a good time to go ahead and clean that up. If you got some brake parts cleaner or something, get that all cleaned up. That way you'll have a good sealing surface when it goes back together. All right, now that we got our surfaces clean, now we're ready to go ahead and install our new pump. Alright, so our new pump comes with that piece. Sometimes they won't come with that piece, but this one came with that piece, so we'll just leave that on there. And there's the old one there. Now, because you're going to stick it into the pump, into the housing, what you want to do is line it up, alright, approximately to where that one is, because whenever you go to put it into the thing, you're not going to turn the crankshaft. You might be able to twist the pump a little bit. But go ahead and take your safety caps off. Alright, and now we're ready to install the pump. Okay, so you just slide it up there. I would recommend you take a little bit of oil. See this O-ring here? Take a little bit of oil and go around that O-ring. It makes it easier to slide in. Keeps you from damaging your surface. Also clean your surfaces that you're going in. So it has a little weight to it, so I'm going to need 2 hands to put it in. I'll go ahead and install it and show you what it looks like. You know what it's going to look like. It's going to look like the old one, except for just cleaner and newer. But I'll go ahead and get it installed and get this thing back together and let you hear it run. Alright, now we've got that back together. That's what it should look like. You see your clamps down there tight. Get your hose back on, your connections there. Pretty straightforward. Now we can go ahead and put our fan back on, put our radiator back in, our cooling, everything else that we took off. And this job should be done. Now to start it up, you may need to put a little bit of starting fluid in there because you will have to prime this pump in order for it to pull the fuel in there. So get you a can of starting fluid if you have an issue starting it up. Other than that, that's pretty much the conclusion of this video. If you have any questions or comments, please chat, subscribe, share, and like. And if there's any particular requests that you want to see, let me know, and I'll see if I can't get that done for you. Other than that, until next time, YouTube, have a great day. And this is Dodge Sprinter 2500. Same thing on like a Mercedes. Pump design might be a little bit different over the years, depending on what year you have, but it's all the same process. All right, until next time, have a good one. On, pump's on, everything's back together. I'll put the grill on in a second. Let's go slide out. Key in, turn it, let it prime. I like to actually, whenever I do a fuel pump, I like to let it prime a couple times just to build up good pressure. You know, you can't prime it too much. If you get it, you know, get it good and primed, it'll start on up. All right, moment of truth. Look at there.